Stand by, ready, two. Take two.
Good evening, and good news tonight.
A new synfuel plant opened yesterday. A spokesman for the Energy Consortium said that this will allow reopening of two textile mills that were forced to shut down in March of 1991 during the national energy disaster. The spokesman added that the additional 100,000 barrels a day will bring the nation's output up to almost one-half of the pre-1991 level.
More on the energy situation when the 6 o'clock news continues.
Mom, can you turn up the heat? I'm cold.
Now, you know we can't. Go put on your jacket.
Okay.
Would you like some coffee?
Hey, Dad, you want some?
Yes.
Well, I'm not through yet.
Oh, no. I forgot tonight's our night for the blackout.
Do we have any candles?
Yeah?
You got the stuff?
You alone?
Yeah. Sure the stuff's any good?
The best.
Ready, sir?
Yes, Charles. Then let's take the corners more slowly today.
Certainly, sir.
You think that's crazy? There'll be crazier things happening in our energy future.
10 years ago, when I look back, you know, all of us thought that we could have all the cheap energy we wanted. We were so clever with technology. Nuclear power would come on. We'd find more oil and gas, and, you know, we were just so rich we could do whatever we wanted to. I used to buy that, and I don't anymore. I see this as a great error. But the big long-term crisis that I talk about when I say energy crisis is the next 15, 20 years, and we're in deep trouble, and we're getting in deeper every day with these enormous appetites that we're building up for energy. And in that sense, the cause of this is all of us and our demands, our tremendous appetites for energy.
After the Arab oil embargo first hit us a few years ago, there were doubts about whether the energy crisis was phony. True, mismanagement caused some energy shortages. But today, we know that the long-term energy crisis is real.
Last winter was tough. There was shortages on electricity last year, brownouts in certain areas. People ask me every day about supply. We're set up on a quota basis as to per how many gallons we delivered last year. And right now, we're between 90 and 95% of our allocation. So there is definitely somewhere along the line a shortage of oil.
Energy consumption began increasing with the Industrial Revolution. In the late 70s, our rate of consumption slowed somewhat, but it's still going up. Population increase is only partly responsible for energy growth. Today, each person uses more. And if we continue, by the year 2000, each of us will be using about 30% more energy.
The push, or the demand for growth, really starts with people. And so long as we have a population that is continuing to expand, a continuing more people looking for work or needing work, more people in the workforce than we had in previous years, there will be a need for additional energy, all forms of energy. It starts with people.
Our growing population will need 1.5 million new jobs every year between now and the year 2000. This means that industry will produce more things. More places will be built for the people to work and live in. And each will need energy for lighting, heating, and perhaps air conditioning. More people may be using fuel extravagantly in the air. In 10 years, there may be 15 million more cars on the road. And though the new ones will be more efficient, the total amount of fuel could go up, up, up. We use energy in each of the 4 sectors of society. This is where we use our energy. In 1860, our energy was supplied by burning wood and by water power, even smaller amounts today. The enormous growth has come in the use of coal, oil, and gas, and since the 50s, nuclear power. Our energy dilemma grows out of our dependence on these three fossil fuels. Each has its problems. Natural gas supplies about a quarter of our energy. If we keep using it as rapidly as we are now, our domestic supplies will last perhaps 35 to 60 years. Gas is used to cook and heat, to generate electricity, and in many industries. It's particularly useful because it's the least polluting of all fuels. As supplies diminish, voices are raised saying we shouldn't squander huge amounts to generate electricity, that it should be used in our homes and for industry. The gas industry is trying to head off the coming shortage by importing LNG, liquid natural gas. This takes specially built ships and costly new facilities to handle the extremely dangerous liquid gas. For a few years we can, and probably will, increase the supply of natural gas. But it won't make up the shortage in our overall energy supply. And the faster we use it, the sooner it will be gone. Oil supplies about half our energy needs. Unlike natural gas or coal, oil can be used for almost everything. In transportation, for heating buildings, and in generating electricity. We also make thousands of products from oil. The demand for oil is still going up, and so is the price.
Every time you take a barrel of oil out of the ground, you make the next barrel more costly. Why? Because first you take out the cheapest, easiest of access oil, and then automatically the next barrel becomes that much more difficult. So the basic problem with non-renewable energy sources is that they escalate in price, eroding the economy, cannibalizing the economy, taking more and more capital out of the economy just to produce the energy, which after all is supposed to support the economy.
Many old oil fields have played out. Most new oil will have to come from offshore where it's more difficult and expensive to get. Offshore drilling also poses the risk of massive oil spills. These have already caused severe environmental damage and economic hardship, and there will surely be many more. We must import about half our oil from other countries, most of it from the politically unstable Middle East.
You have a shortage of energy. We have the energy. So I think that we ought to sit together and discuss what is these obstacles, which might affect on the productions to the United States. No doubt, in these circumstances, politics play a role.
What happened in 1973 was that the people who owned the energy, the oil in the Middle East, had wrested control from the American oil companies, and they themselves owned it. And they realized that they were selling their energy too cheap, that it could only be sold once, and because of other political machinations that took place, they catapulted the cost of energy up to match what was the cost of consumer goods and the balance of the economy. But we've lost control. Let's say the American influence is diminished in the control of energy, and now the price of energy is set on the Arabian Gulf by the countries that control the oil.
The Iranian crisis of 1979 and 80, which cut off only 4% of our supply, showed how vulnerable we are. Disruption in the Middle East has made Americans realize for the first time that there might be a limit to the amount of oil we could get.
The immediate effects, of course, of this rapid increase in price and the fact that we haven't handled the problem very well politically or in the broad public area is to force a large transfer of wealth, literally our savings, to foreign countries.
With each passing decade, our oil supplies dwindle. A child born today will probably live to see a world that's used up all the liquid oil that can be recovered at a price we can afford. The easy oil is gone, but our thirst continues. Coal supplies about 18% of our energy. Whereas the known supplies of oil and gas are in scarce supply, we have plenty of coal. So the federal government has developed a plan to greatly expand its use. The task is enormous and has many problems. For one, it's doubtful that underground mining can be expanded very much. The work is dangerous, and the number of trained miners is limited. So, increased use of coal means more strip mining, especially in the Midwest and West, where the coal companies own extensive mineral rights. Strip mining raises a question of how the land should be used. Ranchers object to strip mining, but many own the surface rights only.
Well, I have about 3,000 acres in this pasture here, and it is practically all of it is underlined with coal. This area where we're standing right here is supposedly their best mining area. They will more likely to mine it than others, the other area. And this is kind of a bad thing too, because it's my summer pasture, and I'm going to have to look for other grazing for my cattle when they do start mining.
Well, there are people who feel that there should be no strip mining. These people are not being very practical. We obviously need this energy. I think that there's no question that the land can be reclaimed. We've demonstrated this in a number of areas. Here we haven't had time. It takes a few years.
Strip-mined land such as this can be restored. How well it's done is likely to depend on how the state enforces its strip mining laws. Restoring the land is costly, and some states hesitate to bear down on the coal companies.
The problem with intensifying the use of coal is first that there are heavy environmental costs involved. Strip mining disrupts the land. A good deal of pollution gets into the air and even into the water as a result of the mining and burning of coal. Another important thing is that the only way to use coal, really, is in large, centralized power stations. This would centralize the production of electricity at a very great cost. It's very expensive to build these plants and the transmission network.
We generate about a third of our electricity by burning oil and gas. Wherever possible, the government wants new plants to use coal and wants old plants converted to coal. The problems that come from burning coal are staggering. First, the quantities of coal needed are huge.
To put it into perspective, maybe it's easiest to say, on a normal day, this plant behind me burns the equivalent of 140 railroad cars of coal per day.
140 railroad cars per day. Our transportation system can barely haul the coal needed by the existing power plants. Coal is our dirtiest fuel. A few years ago, this kind of air pollution was accepted as part of the price for cheap power. Since then, environmental laws have forced utilities to clean up. But it's very expensive to turn this into this. And even these stacks emit pollutants that may have long-range effects on human health and the climate of the planet. Yes, we can use more coal. But how much? And at what cost? Nuclear power supplies about 3.5% of our energy. This percentage will probably increase as plants under construction are completed. No other energy source is as controversial.
I personally feel that those plants now operating and those that are under construction or licensed for construction have just got to be completed and or stay online if we are to achieve any kind of energy self-sufficiency. To shut down those nuclear plants that are now operating would have devastating adverse effects on many, many regions of the United States today. We just don't have anything to replace the capacity or the energy that nuclear plants are supplying.
But a growing number of people think that nuclear power is too dangerous.
The main trouble with nuclear power and the root of the controversies are the great amounts of radioactivity in these nuclear plants, which could kill thousands or tens of thousands of people. We apparently do not understand and are unable to control potentially catastrophic accidents, as the 3 Mile Island event showed us. Either these problems get to be corrected and public confidence in nuclear power restored, or nuclear power will simply have to be phased out.
Proponents of nuclear power say that plants are safe. But in 1979, an accident at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania showed that they are not nearly safe enough. A reactor core was destroyed and radioactivity was released because of mechanical failure and human error. Clearly, nuclear power plants will have to be made much safer if we are to continue to use them. Nuclear reactors also produce deadly radioactive wastes. To date, researchers have not developed approved methods to store these wastes safely for the many thousands of years it will take for the high-level wastes to decay to safe levels. And another problem. High-grade uranium ores are limited. Our present nuclear plants will have to be replaced by breeder reactors if we're to continue to have nuclear power as a long-term energy source. Breeder reactors would produce growing quantities of plutonium, which would greatly increase the dangers from terrorism and the spread of atomic weapons. So nuclear power is not an easy answer to our growing energy appetite. As oil and gas grow scarcer, we face a real and mounting crisis. We must develop alternate sources, probably many of them. Each alternative source has its problems. Modest amounts of synthetic fuels from coal or oil shale can be made, but only at huge dollar and environmental costs. Energy from nuclear fusion might be ideal, but we don't even know yet whether it's possible. Geothermal, using heat from within the earth. Yes, but we have hardly begun to develop the technology. Various ways of using solar energy have great promise. Some forms of solar collectors are economically competitive already. Many forms will be able to produce energy at reasonable cost if they are given anywhere near the push that our old energy sources have had. Solar development is proceeding, although the government, for its own reasons, has given it low priority. What will our clouded future be like? The use of fossil fuels will probably increase somewhat, largely because of increased use of coal. Nuclear energy, with all its problems, will probably not grow rapidly. We will begin to use solar energy and other new sources, but development will take time. And what if we don't learn to curb our appetite for energy? What will fill the gap?
We've got to cut back on our demands. We've got to conserve, and that's the only way out that I see that is safe and certain.
For a century, we have plundered our planet. Only now are we timidly thinking about changing our old ways. The future is racing at us faster than we realize. We must change.